Your lawn needs this in July, or it won't make it through summer. If brown spots are showing up right now, the damage didn't start today. It started days ago. That's why watering more won't fix it. Once soil temperature crosses 77 degrees Fahrenheit, your grass roots stop growing. Completely, not slower, stopped. And that happens underground. Days before you ever see a brown patch on top. Here are the 5 things your lawn actually needs to survive extreme heat. Stay till the end. One tip almost everyone gets wrong, and it's usually the one that decides whether your lawn stays green or turns brown. Let's start with the mistake that sets off everything else. Task 1. Stop cutting your grass short. Most people lower their mower in summer because it means less mowing. It feels efficient. It looks tidy for a day or two. It is one of the worst things you can do to your lawn in July. Here is the chain reaction. The shorter the grass, the more bare soil is exposed to the sun. The more exposed the soil, the hotter it gets underneath. And hot soil does not just feel warm, it can run significantly hotter than the air temperature above it. Roots sitting in that heat dry out fast, and a stressed lawn stops defending itself. Weeds move into the weak spots within days. Grass blades are not just there for looks. Each one works like a small solar panel, capturing light and converting it into the energy the plant uses to grow roots and recover from stress. Cut too much of the blade away, and you cut away the plant's ability to protect itself. A turfgrass physiology specialist at Texas A&M puts it simply, mowing height is one of the easiest tools any homeowner has for helping a lawn cope with summer heat. For most common lawn types, a mowing height of around 7 to 10 centimeters holds up far better. Through summer heat, the exact number depends on your grass variety, but taller is almost always safer than shorter in July. And follow the 1/3 rule. Never remove more than 1/3 of the blade height in a single cut. If your lawn has gotten long, bring it down gradually over 2 or 3 sessions instead of scalping it in one go. One more thing most people skip. Check your mower blade. A sharp blade slices cleanly. A dull one tears the grass tip, and torn tips turn brown fast, which can trick you into thinking your lawn is dry when it is actually just cut badly. Done the hardest part. In reality, the biggest mistake often comes next. If you think getting the mowing height right is the hard part, it's not. The next move is where lawns actually die. Task 2. Water deep, not often. This is the single most common mistake people make in summer, and it feels completely reasonable while you are doing it. A quick sprinkle every evening looks like it is helping. The surface goes dark and wet, the grass perks up for a few hours. Everything looks fine underneath. The opposite is happening. Light daily watering barely wets the top layer of soil, it never reaches deep enough to matter, and roots only grow toward where the water actually is. So your lawn builds a shallow root system that lives entirely near the surface. You will not notice a problem at first, then a genuinely hot stretch arrives, that thin top layer dries out within hours, and the grass starts browning almost overnight. What your lawn actually needs is a deep, infrequent soak, once or twice a week, enough to push moisture down 15 centimeters or more into the soil. That trains the roots to grow downward, into soil that stays cooler and holds moisture far longer than the surface ever will. Timing matters as much as depth. Water early in the morning, ideally before 9 a.m. The sun is not yet strong enough to evaporate it, and the grass has the rest of the day to dry off water at midday, and much of it is lost to evaporation before it reaches the roots. Water at night, and the grass stays damp for hours, which is one of the fastest ways to invite fungal disease. Here is a simple test. Push a screwdriver into the lawn after watering. If it slides in easily several centimeters deep, the water reached where it needed to. If it stops hard almost immediately, your watering is too shallow, no matter how wet the surface looks. Now here is where most people get confused. Their lawn starts losing its color, and they assume it needs feeding. Sometimes that is true. Often it is the worst thing you can do. Task 3. Hold off on the fertilizer. A pale lawn feels like it is asking for food. Fertilizer feels like the caring, responsible response. In July, it is often the fastest way to burn a lawn that is already struggling. Fertilizer pushes grass into fast new growth. Fast growth demands more water and more energy. At the exact moment, your lawn has the least of both. Instead of turning greener, a stressed lawn, fed with a strong fertilizer, often develops yellow patches, crispy leaf tips, and weakened growth. That takes weeks to bounce back. If your lawn genuinely needs feeding, use a light summer formula, one built with potassium, rather than heavy nitrogen, since potassium helps grass tolerate heat and drought, rather than just forcing growth. Only apply it when the soil already has moisture, and never right before a dry hot stretch. Apply it evenly too. Patchy application leaves dark stripes and pale gaps that look worse than doing nothing at all. The safer window to properly feed your lawn is late summer, once the heat has broken, and do not chase a perfect dark green color in the middle of a heat wave. A lawn losing a little color in July is often just protecting itself, not failing. But here's the twist. Sometimes it's not the water, it's not the fertilizer, it's something hiding right under the grass, and almost nobody thinks to check it. Task 4. Check before you assume it is drought. This is where the expensive mistakes happen. A brown patch shows up. The natural instinct is to assume it is thirsty, so people add more water, then more, and the patch keeps spreading anyway. If a damaged area keeps growing despite regular watering, drought is probably not what you are dealing with. Kneel down and gently lift the grass at the edge of the patch. Does it pull away from the soil with almost no resistance, like a loose carpet? That can point to root-feeding grubs underneath, chewing through the root system where you cannot see it. Look closely at the blades instead. Unusual rings, spots, or a powdery discoloration on individual blades often point to a fungal disease rather than dry soil. And here is the part that catches people out. Adding more water to a fungal problem does not fix it. It feeds it. Fungal disease thrives in damp conditions, so extra watering can make the patch spread faster. The rule that saves you money and time is simple. Inspect first, treat second. Never assume the cause before you have actually looked. Once you know what you are dealing with, your lawn usually gives you warning signs long before it fully browns out. Task 5. Learn the 4 warning signs. By the time a patch turns fully brown, you are already behind. But grass shows stress well. Before that point, if you know where to look, color change comes first. Healthy grass is bright. Green stressed grass shifts to a dull gray-blue tone, sometimes almost purple. This is usually the earliest sign of all. Footprints are next. Walk across the lawn and glance back. Healthy grass springs back within seconds. If your footprint stays pressed into the grass, it is already dehydrated. Folded blades follow. Grass under stress folds its leaves inward to reduce sun exposure. If your lawn suddenly looks thinner without any grass actually missing, this is usually why. And finally, cracked soil. Check the edges of paths, driveways, or bare patches. If the soil is pulling away or cracking at the edges, it is losing moisture fast. As one North Carolina state turfgrass expert notes, lawn damage rarely comes from one bad day. It builds quietly from small stresses that pile up week after week. Catch any of these early, and a proper deep watering session usually turns things around within a few days. Miss them, and the lawn moves into dormancy instead. One more thing before we get to that. Every time you mow this month, leave the clippings on the lawn instead of bagging them. Short, evenly spread clippings act as a light natural mulch. They shade the soil, hold in moisture, and break down to quietly feed the roots. It costs nothing, and saves you the effort of bagging green waste every week. Just make sure the clippings are short and light. If they clump into thick piles, either collect them or mow again in a day or two to break them up. What if the lawn is already brown? If parts of your lawn have already gone brown, do not panic and do not assume it is dead. Most established lawns are not dying, they are dormant. This is a natural survival response, where the plant shuts down visible growth to protect its roots and waits out the heat. Give it a light watering, around 15 to 20 minutes once a week, just enough to keep the roots alive. This is not meant to green the lawn back up, only to help it hold on until conditions improve. Do not try to force a dormant lawn back to life. Mid-heat wave, it will not respond, and you will only waste water. Focus on keeping it alive now and repair it properly in autumn with overseeding, aeration, and proper feeding once the grass is actively growing again. Raise your mowing height. Water deep, not daily, and do it early in the morning. Hold off on heavy fertilizer until the heat breaks. Check for pests and disease before blaming drought. Watch for the 4 warning signs: gray-blue color, flat footprints, folded blades, and cracked soil, and leave the clippings where they fall. Most lawns do not fail because of one hot day. They fail because of small habits repeated every single week. Habits that felt helpful at the time. Change the routine now, and your lawn will come out of July stronger than most of the lawns on your street.